I'm Liz Faublas, and this is Currents. Tonight, we celebrate a miracle, the day Our Lady of Guadalupe visited St. Juan Diego. Our Blessed Mother appeared to St. Juan and asked that a church be built in her honor. As a sign, she imprinted her image on his cloak. Today, 481 years later, that image, unaged, is inside the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City. And we celebrate on this feast day the patroness of the Americas. Last night, joy in Jackson Heights.
We are here tonight at the parish of Blessed Sacrament, and we are celebrating the feast of Guadalupe. Jackson Heights, there is a very large contingent of Mexican people who come tonight. This is a great devotion to the Blessed Mother, and they're here tonight celebrating that devotion and their faith in our church, and we're happy to have them here tonight.
Ever since I was little, growing up as a Mexican-American child, it's a tradition to come to church every year to celebrate for La Virgen de Guadalupe, and it's very important for us, and it's very important for me since I grew up in that tradition.
Brings our faith together. Everyone comes together for one reason, to celebrate our faith in the Virgin Mary.
Especially at a time of the history of Mexico, they needed to know that that somebody cared about them and somebody loved them, and at that point the Catholic Church wasn't really very good to them, and I think Mary turned that around and gave the people a sense of their dignity and how important they were to her and to God. A presentation by a group of our children singing songs of praise to God and to Mary. The Mass tonight is the beginning of the celebration of Guadalupe at midnight, when we will have a mariachi band performing all the songs of our church. It is such an act of devotion. Each and every family is devoted to bring some roses, some flowers to the Virgin, a gift, a presentation. It's a humble gift. It's one of recognizing her as the Mother of God. And as we approach the season of Christmas, recognizing that the Son of God, it is through Mary that this celebration comes to fruition.
She does a lot of miracles, believe it or not. Spanish, especially for Central and South America. It brought a spirit to my body, to my soul, and asked for forgiveness for all, my sins.
I guess I'm basically here this year to basically learn of how important this feast is to the people of Mexico in terms of their identity, especially their Catholic identity.
It's a saint that all of Mexico admires. We believe in her. We have so much faith in her, and as you can see, everybody is here.
And today is also the 12th day of the 12th month of the 12th year, a notable day for weddings, birthdays, and births. Since the day dawns for Australians earlier than for us, they got a head start. This girl was born in Brisbane not only on the date 12-12-12, but also at 12:12 a.m. this morning. Her mom and dad have named her An, and proud Papa Vin explains why.
We call her an An, which is peace and calm in Vietnamese.
A triple number date won't happen again for another 9 decades, but Florence Turpin has seen it twice. She was born on 12-12-1912, making today her 100th birthday.
But I've asked them to bring no presents. Remember you said no presents?
No, not at my age.
And for younger couples, this is a day for getting married. The numbers of weddings reportedly are up all over the world. Meantime, take heart. The Vatican's astronomer says the world's not going to end next week. Father Jose Funes says it's not even worth discussing the doomsday scenarios that are all over the internet and based on the Mayan calendar. These predictions claim the end will come on December 21st, next Friday. Father Funes says the universe will end, but probably not for billions of years. Previously, Pope Benedict reminded us that Jesus never never set a date for the end of the world, and the Holy Father was involved in another event today worth noting. He sent out his first tweet. Surrounded by church officials and 5 youngsters from across the globe, the Pope wrote, "Dear friends, I am pleased to get in touch with you through Twitter. Thank you for your generous response. I bless all of you from my heart." Tweets are limited to 140 characters or less. The Pope's account is Pontifex. Up next, Hurricane Sandy, new steps by the bishops, and old-fashioned elbow grease on Staten Island. Details as Currents continues after the break. Welcome back. The U.S. bishops are taking up a national collection to meet the ongoing needs of the victims of Hurricane Sandy. The offerings will be collected throughout the Advent and Christmas seasons, with individual dioceses setting the dates. About 200 soldiers from Fort Knox are back at their base after helping with the recovery from the storm here in New York. The soldiers, rewarded with medals for their work, removed 1,300 tons of debris and pumped out 13 million gallons of water. The commanding general said it was a sobering experience.
Now you see the families, you see everything that they've had and what they lost, and it's just going in the dump. So it was really, you had to be there to experience it.
Well, not even the Army has been able to overcome all of the difficulties left in the storm's wake. On Staten Island, a health threat is growing literally daily.
Every day, Nancy Noble suits up for a battle she's fiercely determined to win.
I'll give myself about 4 hours, and you do both sides and the top.
Bleach, hydrogen peroxide, vinegar. Even the professionals have not been able to kill the mold thriving in the wake of Sandy's floodwaters.
I'm just trying to stay ahead of it, and I hope it's, not for naught.
Homeowners, helped by thousands of volunteers like those from World Care Center, have been gutting houses, ripping out floors, walls, and insulation. If not cleaned properly, mold continues to grow and can make people very sick.
It just is everywhere. The mold is everywhere.
Dan Heft has seen it before.
The mold can replicate itself and just keep growing. That starts to become a toxic situation.
He travels the country with an organization that helps muck out homes soaked by hurricanes and floods.
The fear is that people will start getting sick.
Yes, you'll start to see a lot of upper respiratory issues and a lot of allergies that are going on. You start hearing about the Sandy cough.
Those mold-related illnesses can trigger an epidemic, says disaster readiness expert Erwin Redlener.
I think there's quite a bit of concern now about this looming public health crisis, which is what we're dealing with in terms of the mold infestation in many of the homes that have been damaged by water.
The New York City Health Department is tracking emergency room visits and says following a spike immediately after the storm, the rate of breathing illnesses seems to have stabilized.
Looming public health crisis might be too strong a term, but I can say that it is absolutely a health risk.
City Health Commissioner Thomas Farley says getting rid of the mold is key. Still, not everybody knows how to do it properly.
This is a professional mold remediation company. We spoke to the owner, and he said people here on Staten Island have been coming up to him desperate to know how to clean the mold out of their homes. Some of them don't have insurance, and they don't have the money to pay for it. He says a lot of people here are going to start getting very, very sick.
Mold has taken over Anne Marie Parenti's home, now too dangerous to enter.
The house is pretty much covered in mold, like 3 feet up the wall. The basement ceiling is all green and fuzzy.
Does the New York City Health Department have a responsibility or an obligation to the folks affected by the hurricane to sign off and say your home is safe to live in?
No, the buildings department is signing off on whether the house is structurally safe, but there's not any one test that can say, okay, the mold levels in this house are too high or too low.
So while homeowners struggle through really restoring their homes, you can help. Our diocesan newspaper, The Tablet, is conducting its Bright Christmas campaign for the 40th year in a row, giving you the opportunity to make this Christmas a little brighter for the victims. Gifts may be sent to Bright Christmas in care of The Tablet at 1712 10th Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11215. Up next, incredible medical help only yards from the manger as Currents continues after the break. Welcome back. The head of the Coptic Church in Egypt won't be part of the so-called national dialogue that the president, Mohamed Morsi, wants regarding the country's new constitution. Tawadros II says the church is a religious institution and political discussions should be left to the politicians and the people. And the people of Egypt do have a lot to say, taking to the streets to oppose Morsi and the constitution and to offer support.
I want the liberal way, I want this democratic way, the way that we want. I don't want the rules to be imposed on you. I don't want this constitution.
This is the democracy. The democracy, anything, go by vote.
We all must go to say yes or no.
And the vote is set for Saturday. Meantime, in a region racked by turmoil, the Middle East, finding a hospital that offers some of the best care in the world to some of those most in need is remarkable. But that is the case at Holy Family Hospital, located almost next door to the site traditionally recognized as the birthplace of Jesus. Earlier today, I spoke with the executive director, Colleen Murata, and asked her how it is all possible. The vote is set for Saturday. Meantime, in a region racked by turmoil, the Middle East, finding a hospital that offers some of the best care in the world to some of those most in need is remarkable. But that's the case at Holy Family Hospital, located almost next door to the site traditionally recognized as the birthplace of Jesus. Earlier today, I spoke with the executive director, Colleen Murata, and asked her how it is all possible.
Well, only 500 yards from the birthplace of Jesus Christ, Holy Family Hospital is the premier maternity hospital and newborn critical care for the Bethlehem region, 4 United Nations, the refugee camps, and Bedouin encampments in the Judean desert. But most importantly, Liz, it offers peace and love in action in the midst of great turmoil. And so important is this work that in the year 2000, Blessed Pope John Paul II named Holy Family Hospital one of his top 100 priorities for the new millennium.
And I appreciate the humility of your answer, but I certainly don't want to minimize the work that you do. You say that you offer the best medical care in Palestine, even when compared to the services available in the Western world, and that's really important. How do you recruit the medical staff that makes such care possible?
Well, the hospital is very proud that we have recruited and trained native-born medical professionals. We have trained 90 midwives. That's the entire number working in the Bethlehem region, both at Holy Family Hospital and other hospitals throughout the West Banks. But again, it provides a steady employment and a fair wage for its 150 employees, many whom are the sole support of a large extended family.
And you mentioned steady employment, and you mentioned this fair wage, and I'm thinking we can barely do that here in this day and age, which again speaks to the work that you're doing there. How exactly do you manage? What are the fundraising efforts? How do you fund the facilities? How do you train the midwives? Where do you get this money from?
Well, in 1990, the Order of Malta actually took over the hospital from the French Daughters of Charities. And since that, in Order of Malta, just real quickly, has been around for 900 years. And since that time, its members around the world, in hand with other Christians around the world, and here we have the U.S. Foundation. You can visit birthplaceofhope.org. And we have generous donors here in the United States that give to the hospital's work. And without their support, we would have to turn away these mothers and children. And, of course, we don't want anyone to hear those dreadful words, "There's no room at the inn."
I have so many other questions, but I also want to introduce a little bit of history. The hospital did close in 1985 due to some economic and socio-political reasons. Blessed Pope John Paul II interceded. He enlisted the aid of the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, as you mentioned. And I should also mention, as you talked about earlier, that Pope John Paul II named Holy Family Hospital one of the top 100 priorities of the Roman Catholic Church in the new millennium. And I felt that that really needed to be reiterated. Do you continue to receive support from the Vatican, from Pope Benedict XVI? How does that help you forward your mission?
Yeah, and in this region full of misery and despair, the hospital is a beacon of hope and is serving as a safe haven for thousands of poor mothers and the children. And also, it's offering a Christian presence in the region. We have, in this land of strife, at the hospital, an oasis where Christians and Muslims give birth side by side, and also the Christians and Muslims are working side by side every day, facilitating and witnessing the miracle of life. It's a true testament of carrying out the messages that we were given by the Christ child.
Colleen, tell us a little bit about the biggest challenges that you face on a day-to-day.
Well, I think the largest challenges is just in the area with the security wall and the different mobile checkpoints, and that's why the hospital really always addresses what is going on in the region. We now have a mobile outreach clinic that goes into the Judean Desert, traveling weekly, providing medical care to these communities living in complete isolation, no water, electricity. We also have the only neonatal intensive care unit in the region, annually saving the lives of 400 infants. So we really are addressing the high infant mortality rate and making sure that women are getting the prenatal care that they need during their pregnancies.
All right, Colleen, thank you so much for joining us. And really quickly, how can people get in touch with you? If you have a website, if you could just tell us within 10 seconds, how can people learn more about what you do?
You can go to birthplaceofhope.org and learn about us. And we also invite you to journey this Christmas. We have an interactive calendar that offers a special message each day of prayer and reflection. So we hope you join us in that journey towards the birth of the Christ child.
All right, Colleen, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate the work that you do, and stay safe out there. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Catholic colleges in the U.S. have, for the most part, dropped any requirement that students study theology. A new report by the Cardinal Newman Society finds that most of the schools are devoting themselves to general education course. But the colleges still with theology requirements have the strongest Catholic identity. Also, they have the best general study programs. And in England, a theology that is out of this world is popular. New census data shows that Jedi Knight is the most chosen faith among British who identified themselves as belonging to other religions. And the Jedi Knights do outrank the atheists by 5-1, according to the English census data. When we return, the Nativity on exhibit at the Vatican and celebrated by song in Forest Hills after the break. Welcome back to Current. The bishop of our diocese, Bishop DiMarzio, has joined with New York's Christian leaders to celebrate the elevation of the Archbishop of New York, Timothy Dolan, to the rank of cardinal. In addition to Cardinal Dolan and Bishop DiMarzio, Cardinal Egan, Bishop William Murphy of Rockville Center, and the leaders of the Orthodox churches in America gathered recently at the Armenian Cathedral in Manhattan for prayer and reception. Cardinal Dolan said he was moved by the ecumenical honor. Persecution, meantime, is worrying the Vatican tonight. The Communist government of China has revoked the appointment of Bishop Thaddeus Ma as co-bishop of Shanghai. The Vatican spokesman says the Holy See is, quote, deeply concerned by the action. The Communists took the step after the bishop quit a government-run Catholic group that the Vatican refuses to recognize. The Communists claim the bishop's decision is a serious incident. At the same time, the Vatican is preparing for the birth of our Lord, and an exhibit in Rome showing a collection of nativity scenes from all over the world helps set that mood.
The tradition has been cradled in history for nearly 2,000 years now. Christians around the world found ways to depict the birth in a little town of Bethlehem. Fast forward to today, the tradition is alive and well. But the place to find unique nativity scenes is 100 Presepi at Santa Maria del Popolo.
Each year we make great selections. We choose highly artistic nativity scenes and we narrow it down to the best exhibits. It doesn't matter where it comes from. We've made such great selections that even the New York Times has recommended our event as one of 6 to visit worldwide.
The exhibit features more than 100 nativity scenes from all over Italy and the world. They range from gargantuan displays full of light and movement to smaller scale exhibits that can easily fit in one person's hand. Organizers expect up to 40,000 visitors this year, but the tradition extends beyond this exhibition hall.
We've begun to see more of these types of exhibits across Italy and Europe. What we've done is given this tradition a new impulse to grow.
The growth, they say, will be reflected in their event. Whether they're made from pasta or made from glass, the more submissions that come in, the better the event will be in the future.
And finally tonight, from Forest Hills, Queens, the music of the season, Our Lady Queen of Martyrs annual Christmas concert, this year with Bishop Paul Sanchez and a symphony orchestra.
You're ready.
What's happening here at Our Lady Queen of Martyrs Church here in Forest Hills is a tradition. This is a wonderful tradition, this Christmas concert.
This is a concert that was started by Monsignor Joseph Finaro, who's with us. He has built this up to be a tremendous Advent ceremony, which is a beautiful celebration of our faith, of music and song, and a beautiful preparation for the coming feast of Christmas.
Church manages to present a concert of this scale really through the generosity of its parishioners who respond to our call for funding, and they come out. As you can see, it's a full house. They come out and support it. So we've created a, may I use the word, magic kingdom in terms of liturgy that has been just spills over into the Christmas concert and makes people want to come in here. The concert has always been a part of this parish, but it's getting bigger and bigger, and we're getting better and better. And the audiences come from all over. We have people from Brooklyn Heights, Long Island, Staten Island.
You know, professional direction. David Close is a professional musician. He brings together our choir. He practices with the church choir every week and does a tremendous job with them. Well, I've been participating in this program with the Christmas concert since the beginning, back in 1984, when Richard Pretzer, the former organist, started the program. I helped him get some singers and some performers and musicians and so on. And we brought it together because the then pastor said, I want Messiah this season. I said, oh my Lord, how are we going to do this? He said, he wants it. I said, okay, I'll help you, we'll do it. And the rest is history.
It's a beautiful concert, Christmas concert. They do the first part of the Messiah, and then we do a whole Christmas section after that as well.
My favorite part is the Christmas part of it, the second half, with the familiar music of Christmas. I love that. I really enjoy every bit of it.
Well, I think all of the religious songs in any sort of arrangement or in the traditional hymn version for people who love Christmas and celebrate Christmas and birth of Christ, it's fresh. You know, it's close to our heart.
I always just say that the hills are alive with the sound of music when we have our concert here at the Forest Hills.
Thank you for joining us. We leave you with more from the celebration of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Jackson Heights. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Liz Faublas. Thank you for watching and have a good night.